Welcome back, everybody. This is the Broker That Never Sleeps podcast. I'm super excited to share some amazing things with you today. But first, I just want to say, if you want, please, I know we're just starting out. Let's go hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that notification bell will certainly let you know exactly when I drop new podcasts, new content, new vlogs here on YouTube. So I really appreciate you and thank you for checking in. Today, we are going to be talking about the team dynamic in real estate. What I always like to think about when I talk about teams is when I was young, there was a show on MTV, I think it was called Making the Band with P. Diddy. Right? He would have all these people come in and then the drummers, they'd all audition. But that drummer might be the best drummer, but he doesn't mesh with the singer. So maybe that doesn't work, right? So maybe the second best drummer meshes with the best singer, and that's actually how you make the band the right way. So a lot of what making a team is, and I'm a team leader here at Serhant, and a lot of what it means to run a team is to be able to kind of find the right people to put into the places where you know they'll be able to help with your business, but then you're also putting them in a position where they're able to learn and grow from where they are now and to go to where they want to go. So one of the first things, and just by way of background, I teach the capstone mentorship program within the Sell It Like Serhant program, and by teaching that, I get to speak and train a lot of team leaders across the nation and world in these one-on-one environments. So I've been given a lot of really great advice recently in that program, and I just figured, why don't we just kind of put it on a podcast so that it can live and a lot of people can benefit from it. Not only is this podcast going to be a benefit to the people who run teams, but I believe that this podcast will be of benefit to the people who are actively looking to join teams or are real estate agents now and didn't even realize that there was a team concept that they can get into that will help fast track them. So what I'm trying to do is teach you the fast track, right? I'm going to give you, information, examples, stories that will help you in the fast tracking of making the right team, making the band, right? And I'm currently, I'll just give you some current data. I currently have a team of 10. I have an admin, I have an assistant, I have 7 or 8 junior agents. I can't even remember anymore. And right now, I'm saying, wow, how did I get here? It's 2023. When I joined Serhant in April of 2021, I just came over myself and one junior agent, his name is Samir Vogan. So I think it's very important to start where I was just 18 months ago at Serhant with me and somebody else. I had a team of 2 and now I'm a team of 10. How does somebody go from having one person that they work with to then having, 10 people. Okay. It's very important. And I think it's important to start with Samir Vogan. So we're going to have Samir on this podcast. He's an incredible guy. He's been working with me now for about 4 years. And the funny thing is I made an Instagram post many years ago and it said, I am looking for junior agents, people that I could train and coach, okay? Samir Vogan followed me on Instagram because back in the day, 2011, 2012, 2013, I was on a podcast. So if you see me talking very fluidly in this podcast, it's because I have experience. I've done over 250 episodes in my podcasting career. And it's always helped me to speak, to put my thoughts out there, but then also to get my name out there. So Samir listened to that podcast because it was one of the only real estate podcasts that was on the internet at the time. And he was watching it, following it. He followed me on Instagram. I made the post and then he took a shot. He called me and said, hey, I'm from Kansas City. I'm in New York City right now. I'm in New York right now. It's not like the guy who's like, I'm thinking about coming to New York. Because I get those calls. I'm thinking about coming to New York. I'm almost done my real estate license. I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna do anything to work for you. Are you in New York? Do you have an apartment? Okay, call me back when that's done. Because 90% of the people that call me and say that, they never make it here anyway. So you're just taking your shot when it's totally not even relevant. So Samir was here, and I think that was one of the biggest things that he did is, as an aspiring agent in a different market, he was in the Kansas City market. He said, I want to be in New York City. I want to get out of where I'm from. I want to make a name for myself. And he called me and he said, look, I'm going to do whatever it takes. So the way that I operate, and I am not an easy team lead. Okay. I really force people to get out of their comfort zone. I push them beyond what they believe to be true about themselves. Most people, in my opinion, have these limited beliefs that are in their head. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't make a vlog. Oh, that podcast is going to be too hard to start. I just tell that, like, whatever that limited belief is that says that stuff in my head, I just tell that limited belief to, shut the fuck up and just keep going. Okay. And that's what I've been doing. And Samir said, let me do what it takes. And I said, okay, I'll do what it takes. I'll show you what it takes. So I said, before I even interview you, I gave him a list of 30 buildings, rental buildings, for him to go, take pictures in, take videos in, and understand the market where I was operating in. So what he did was he ran around the city, and he did this over the course of a week. And then he came back to me. He didn't ask me any questions. He took my directions. He thought about it himself, and he did it. Did the light just pop on right now? We forgot about it. Is this going to look, it's okay. The lighting is all good. We're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Mikey's going to handle it. So Samir Vogan, this kid went out, looked at all 30 of those buildings, came back, showed me a detailed report and said, these are the buildings that I like. These are the buildings that I don't like. Pricing's off on this building. Pricing's off on this building. Very easy to get an appointment here. Not easy to get an appointment here. Leasing person's mean. Leasing person's nice. He kind of like gave me all the information that I was looking for to show me that he was actually doing the work. For example, part of it is it's not just the 30 buildings. It's who's the doorman and what's the doorman's name. So as part of the process, he had to go meet the leasing agent, go to the doorman. Hey, what's your name? Oh, you're John? Okay, now I know, by the way, all these doormen's names. And then I'll go to the next person who wants to join my team and say, go to these buildings and meet these doormen. And then I know what their names are. So if it's right, it's right. If it's not, it's not. But I just use those little tiny things to see if somebody's real. Because if you're starting a team and you're a team leader, most people are not real because they really haven't investigated themselves. Okay, because this is not a normal business. This is a lifestyle. This isn't, oh, I get to go to the office and I'm just going to make a couple reels here and, things are going to get great. This is a business that requires constant attention, focus to turn your whole lifestyle into this. It's not something that you just show up for here and there. And by doing these hard things with the people that want to join my team at the beginning, what it does is it set them up to learn to be self-starters. Because the way that I do it as a team lead is look, there are times when I help you get the fish and eat, of course. But most of the time, what I'm trying to do is set the people up on my team to learn to fish so they could feed themselves. And then what I do is help amplify that to get from 500K to $1 million to $2 million to $5 million to $20 million and so on. And, I have a track record of doing that, and I've been doing it for a long time. And I think the Samir example is a really good one because I hired him. And he joined me. I was at a firm, a tech firm, before I came to Sirhan, and he joined me. We had an amazing time. But all we were doing, not going to say amazing, like it was an amazing time because we were growing, and like he's my brother at this point. But it was a lot of pain at the beginning. I'll give you one example. He didn't know his Facebook password. We were going to run like a Facebook ad at the beginning. He didn't know his Facebook password, and I'm like, get out of here. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you don't know what your password is? He's like, no. I'm like, you're not prepared for business. We'll meet tomorrow. Right? So like, I know that's not what somebody wants to hear. And like Samir's like, what? Who's this guy? Why is he doing this? I don't understand. But I know what I was doing. I was just trying to like really challenge him, and he came back and, he did it the next time. And, that's part of it is really making people take responsibility. And a lot of people, they see the TV shows, they see the Netflix shows, they see the Sell It Like Sirhan. Oh, that was a TV show, I guess, right? They see all these $1 million listings, and then they say, oh, I could just do this. But they don't understand, like, what's the inner workings of it? How is, Ryan Sirhan selling all these new developments? He's only one person. Well, he's excellent at building a team. And that's like the most important thing if you want to learn how to scale. Because I don't treat real estate like I'm just a solo agent. I've been a solo agent. I've been a solo agent for a very long time, and I've done very well for myself. But I also know deep down inside, because remember, in 2011, I started a brokerage. I built it up to 35 people. I know how to scale. So I'm very, very smart about how I scale. I don't want to get above my skis and be kind of falling down too fast. I want to make sure that I'm doing it right, because I've found, especially with my last company, or one of the companies where I had people working for me, about 35 of them, you have to be very specific about how you hire and who you hire, because one rotten apple infects the whole batch. So let's just digest that. I had a team at one point. There was a really nice girl that worked for me, and she was just nice. She didn't close any deals. She was having some financial problems, whatever. She ended up just talking a lot of shit. This isn't working. This business sucks. The business is no good. Oh, the training's no good here. Anything that she can get to really justify why she just wasn't closing deals. And, I wanted to let her go, and I didn't. And it was probably one of the biggest lessons of my life. One of my partners at the time, he said, Nile, you got to learn how to be decisive. Decisive? What do you mean by that? He said, well, if you think that this person is infecting other people and she's a bad apple, as you say, if you think that's who she is, then you have to be swift and decisive and let her go. I didn't heed that advice from a partner that I had. And she continued to infect more and more people. So instead of having a company of 30 people and having one or two people messed up, now I had 10 different unique problems to deal with, because I was not decisive and didn't make what should have been a very easy decision, which is, you're not going to cut it. I don't know if in this business or not, but you're not going to cut it with me. And there's a lot of complaining and you're affecting other people. So we're going to let you go. That was hard because I didn't want to let people go. I felt bad, like, she's nice and I'm nice. But that was a big moment for me in my career growth, because now I understood how powerful it was to have cohesiveness in a team, to have everybody on the same page about goals, vision, execution, responsibilities, heart, punctuality, showing up, attitude, responsiveness. And I can go on and on and on. But that part and that stuff is the most important part when you're building the team. And if you're an agent, Mikey, I think you were asking me, hey, a lot of agents, they want to probably know, like, oh, should I look out for when I first start in the business? What should I do? I think we're going to play a clip right now. This is me doing a Sell Like Sirhan TikTok video. And the question that they asked, they said, Nile, what is the number one piece of advice that you can give to a young agent? And the piece of advice that I would give to a young agent is that you should find a mentor, okay? And you should work for them. And you should work for them for free for a very long time. And you should learn, because those skills are invaluable. I was in real estate when I first started out. I was on my own, okay? I didn't know much. I felt like I was swimming. I was like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to really make it. It wasn't until I found a real mentor that said, put the fucking phone down. You're not allowed to get a computer. Here's a landlord phone book. Here's a stack of note cards. Start dialing. Now, look, that's scary, right? Like, oh my God, I got to make these phone calls. I want to use the internet. I want to look up what it last sold for before I spoke to the who gives a shit? You could just ask, what did it last sell for? What do you want now? Why didn't it sell? You don't have to analyze it. It doesn't matter. That analyzing wastes time. The only thing that matters is the call. So it wasn't until I had a very strong and powerful and successful mentor to guide me and coach me and train me and push me far beyond what I thought was possible. It wasn't until then that I really started to see, okay, this is what's important. Finding a mentor, learning from them, him, her, whatever, team, guy, it doesn't matter. You want to learn. You want to take your ego out of it and say, all right, what am I doing here? And what can I contribute? Right? So what I contributed was I every day made 200 phone calls minimum. Did I get everybody? No. Did I talk to some people? Yes. Did they hang up on me? Yes. Did I have longer conversations with other people? Sometimes. But over time, those conversations got longer and longer and longer, and the hangups went low and low and low. And in those 2 years, by the way, I closed 0 deals. I was working as a commercial real estate agent on the team. I had been very successful on the residential side. And then all of a sudden, I was working there. I didn't make any money for 2 years, and I was pretty much at zero, living off credit card debt. But I was happy to do it. So I pretty much bankrupted myself. Now you would say, you're crazy for doing that. But it's just like going to college. Would you pay money to learn invaluable skills? Okay. Yeah. Well, I made zero money. So it was like paying money, and I had a little bit of savings and I spent it all. And then I used the rest of my credit cards and debt to like keep going. And then it hit a point where I just couldn't do it anymore. And then I made a move and left, right? Because you have to at some point. But I got the information and the knowledge in the real truth about what it means to be a high producer. And that's just being on the phone. And I never really understood that. But that's what I like to talk to new people about, is finding that mentor. And how do you find that mentor? How do you find somebody that's actually going to mesh with you? Because you hear horror stories. Like you're a real estate agent. You want to get out there. You want to go meet, someone that works on my team. I'm not going to say whether it's a guy or a girl, but their last team that they worked for, if you could speak to that team lead once or twice a month, that was a big deal. I call every single one of my agents 8:30, 9 a.m. and I say to them one specific thing, okay? Because if somebody works for me, I think it's the complete opposite. What does that mean? Well, if they're a junior agent on Nile Lundgren's team, you don't work for Nile Lundgren. Nile Lundgren works for you. So that's what most people don't get, is that most agents in this business, they treat the junior agents like they're just nobody. Oh, I'm the team lead. You're replaceable. And yes, new people are replaceable because we don't know. So at the end of the day, I work for the agents that work for me because they're not where I'm at. So I work for them. I try and help them get to where I think is a suitable level where they could be self-sufficient and then not have to call me or whatever. I also have training. I also have manuals. I've also done my own Sirhan style training manual, and I've done all those things which are supplemental to all of the other tools that we have in the weekly team meetings, which are all designed to take an agent from a very basic understanding of the business to a more in-depth understanding of not only what is important from a condo co-op side or the market, but actually how to deal with and manage not only your own expectations and emotions, but also how to manage your client's expectations and emotions. Very, very important. Because I said in one of my previous podcasts, there's an emotional roller coaster that everybody's riding when the real estate train is going, right? But our job as agents is to remain neutral. We don't want to ride that with our clients. We don't want to be too excited. We don't want to be too down. Yeah, I get it. You need the money. I get it. Don't care. You got to be neutral. Okay, you want to freak out to your roommates or your loved one or whatever later? Go do that. Never in front of a client. Just not going to happen. Okay, so you got to find a mentor. Okay, one of the most important things that I think I missed was the mentor thing. It took me a lot of years, and I think I lost a lot of years out of my time. So if I'm ever talking to people now, I'm always talking about things like, hey, you want to skip a couple steps. Obviously, you have to go through the steps to get to where you're at. But if there's ever a way to hack the system and get somewhere, it's joining a team that's producing, a producing team where you can learn. Don't worry about the income. The income will come if you focus on the work and you focus on your product knowledge. Why do you think when Samir Vogan first called me and said that he was in New York and wanted to work for me, I sent him to go look at 30 different buildings? Because the day he joined, he had incredible product knowledge. And he could say, okay, Nile, you have this exclusive listing building. It's a rental? I said, yes. He said, okay. So when I get somebody who's a client that comes to see the building, I know all of my competition and I could talk about that. So that gave him a leg up because he did the market knowledge and the research into what the position really needed. And I admire Samir for taking that on and actually listening and following through on it, because a lot of people talk, and it's very important if you want to work on a team that you do what you say you're going to do. There's really no excuse if you say you're going to show up or you say you're going to do this, you say you're going to do that, and then you don't, unless, there's a catastrophic event. And in that situation, I'm sure anybody totally understands, and I totally understand as well. So I think the main point here is like when you're on a team, what is the benefit? What is the benefit of you being on a team? Well, as I said, the biggest benefit of being on any team is just to be close to deals in action, because by being close, then you could learn. So the benefit of being on a team is learning. It's actually just learning. So it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care if you do 1 million deals. Like, that's not the biggest thing that's important to me. Are you doing the little things? Are you on time? Is your attitude positive? Are you responsive? Do you deal with adversity well? Are you a self-starter? Do I need to tell you how to copy and paste because I'm the team lead? Or does the internet have that answer for you and you don't have to waste someone's time? That's important. You want to be on someone's team? You better know, and this is very important. This is a very important real estate lesson. You need to know what to say to who, when. I will repeat that. You need to learn how to say what to who, when. It's very important. Just because you want to say something doesn't mean it's the right time. Just because you want to say, I'm dissatisfied with this team that I'm working on. Is it because you're dissatisfied or because you are not putting in the work? And that's an honest question that you have to ask yourself. And I always ask people that, because at the end of the day, I could be the best team lead, but I need to investigate who that person is. When I hire somebody, I'm not necessarily going to know who that person is until shit really hits the fan. So my philosophy is to make decisive decisions, is to hire quickly. And then if it's not working out, then to get rid of people quickly. You know, a lot of people say that they're going to do a lot of things, and that's great. And I'm totally with that. And I say things, but I know I always back it up and I deliver. So I just would expect that from anybody else. I also just want to talk about teams. I mean, in general, when you see solo agents doing deals in any market, you're like, oh, wow, that agent's great, right? Or you see Ryan Serhant, you're like, that guy sold $1 billion or $5 billion or whatever it is. It's like, how does he do that? He's only one person. Well, the reason for the team is because you need, as a team lead, to not only have your own business to where it's at a max capacity and you just can't do it anymore. But then once you have that, for example, with Samir, I had the Lewis Steel building, which is a 83-unit rental building in Prime Williamsburg. So that was his training ground. He used the Lewis Steel building to get trained. He saw 8 to 10 clients a day. Those clients said he closed those deals with 4 years ago. Those people are now buyers. Yeah, it was the long-term play with him. I wasn't going to just give him a $10 million buyer off the jump and say good luck and he'd fuck it up. Totally not going to happen. You go out there, you do a bunch of rental deals, you learn how to deal with clients, you learn how to deal with your own emotions. Once you learn that, then those people that you did the deal with at the beginning, that's where you're going to do the sales deal now. Remember, my first $3 million deal, my first ever sales deal when I was licensed, because I sold my first when I was not licensed. But when I did my first ever sales deal, it was a client that I took a $2,000 rental from. And I just continued to follow up. It wasn't because I had an amazing marketing strategy. It's like I met a guy on Wall Street in Broadway, Trinity Church, showed him a bunch of places. He ended up at 200 Water Street. And what happened? I just kept in touch with him. 6-8 months later, he's like, yeah, I'm going to buy $3 million cash. I'm like, what? But that's what it takes. That's what happens. So for all the new agents out there, and I know a lot of you are just saying, oh man, you know, I'll do anything. I had think about this. I had somebody that I went to college with saying that I'm crushing it so much. He's like, I'll do Wolf of Wall Street. I'll quit my job. You show me your paycheck. I'll do anything. And then I was like, oh, so like, what are you doing now? He's like, oh, I'm a teacher. I said, okay, cool. So you want to quit that and work, you know, I'm talking about 24/7, bro. Like I'm not like a normal teen. Like, you going to quit that job? He's like, no, I'll work, part-time at the beginning. You just said you quit your job, bro. And see, like, you're either in or you're out. You're either burning the fucking boats, which means you're committed. And by the way, yeah. So I just hired somebody else on my team. I just remembered talking about burning the boats and being committed. She's not from the New York City market. Her area code on her phone reads, you know, I'm from nowhere. Okay. And I asked her, I said, hey, you know, day one, change your phone number. You know, I've had it my whole life. Yeah, irrelevant. You want to be a New York City real estate broker? Can't have an Iowa area code. It's like a dead giveaway that you don't know what you're doing. So we need to change that. I just remember that she still hadn't. That's why I just freaked out. It's very important to go all in. If you don't go all in, it's like very hard. Okay, I'll give you another example. So I call every agent every morning. I say, what can I do for you? Remember, I work for you. What can I do for you? Can I help you with a client? Can I get on a call with you? If somebody doesn't do these little things like change the phone number, then I just, I'm not calling that person, right? Because I only call people that actually like are doing the work that earn my time. I don't just like hire people and like help them. Like, I'm here to help. If I was doing that, I'd be consulting for Sirhan, making a lot more money than making $0 just because you're on my team, not closing deals. I'll just continue to do that if that's what it is, right? So you have to say, do I really want to work on a team? And there's a lot of teams. There's social media teams. There's teams that don't do business but look good on social media. There's teams that crush business and do no social media. There's teams that are super high end. There's teams that are like a family. There's teams that are just about business. There's teams that there's every different way. There's teams with buyer's agents or buyer. This is the buyer agent. That's the seller agent. This is the admin, right? Yeah, a million different ways to skin the cat. A million different ways. And not everyone's going to be right for you. So it's important to ask like really legitimate questions. Like, what does it look like if I join a team? Like new agents, what does it look like if I join a team? What does day one look like? What I like to do too is with new agents is like, well, what do you think day one would look like? Because people don't know. Like, okay, I want to get into real estate. Okay, let's say you're in real estate right now. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like the real estate course doesn't tell you anything. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to make phone calls. You're going to put an ad out. Where are you going to put the ad? How are you going to do it? Right? It's just a good question to ask, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, I got to do more research into the real estate thing. And they're calling me and it's like, no, but like, what are you going to do? Like day one. So ask that question. Not only what are you going to do for me, team lead, but be prepared to answer back and say, hey, this is my idea of what I think it is, but don't have no answer. Like, this is where I see myself adding value. Do you see that or no? I'm an animal on the phone. Does your team have a cold calling person? I'm a great social media person. Does your team have a social media person? I'm really good on the Upper West Side because I grew up there and I'm cool with all the folks at the synagogues and the rabbi. Great. Use that. Everyone's got their own unique ability. It's about you, if you want to join a team, deciding what your unique ability is and then clearly communicating that to your team lead. In addition to that, you should have clear one-by-one steps, step-by-steps on where you think not only you're going to be today, but next week, next month, a year from now. And once I ask those questions and you actually digest that for yourself and then are able to clearly communicate that, then you're going to say, all right, this is who I am. And then you're going to ask questions. Does that fit with your team? What systems do you have in place that mirror what I'm talking about already? Okay, you are all about social media and I'm just a cold calling guy with no social media account. Maybe that's not the best for me. Or maybe you're so good over here, but you need to get a little better on the social side. So then maybe it is good for you to join that team, which focuses on social, which focuses on your brand, which focuses on awareness, which allows you to get more clients down the line. It depends, and there's no real way to find the right team at the beginning. And there's no real way to find the right agent at the beginning. If you're a team lead, what I would say is find one person, like I found Samir. Train that person up so that they are fully dialed in to how you execute business, to how you speak to clients, to how you write emails, to how you organize all of your listings, how you have checklists, how everything is dialed in. So I did that with Samir. I had one person. He knows my business inside and out. He knows everything. We've had some great times. We've also had some very rough times, including me saying, we're done. I'm done with this. You made way too many mistakes. And it was warranted because money was put on the line. But you know what? Samir bounced back from that adversity, didn't say, oh, woe is me and be a victim. He said, what I did was legitimate. I accept that. I take responsibility. I know you don't want to work with me anymore, but I'm going to continue to work my ass off. And I said, good. That's the only thing you could really do. You need to show up and continue to work. And he did. And we're still working together. And the kid, Samir, I'm just so proud of him. 2022 is probably one of, I'd say his best year, I think, ever. and his best year with me, certainly. And it's just really a blessing for me as a team lead to see people come to me like Samir from different markets who don't necessarily know what they're talking about, specifically to New York, condos, co-ops, that kind of stuff. And then to see them grapple with these ideas and like, you don't know your Facebook password, get out of here, right? Like now he knows he's got to have everything organized. I'm not wasting my time waiting for you to learn how to copy or paste or find out what your password is. I'm doing the next thing because I'm calling people and I'm doing lots of business. I'm not just waiting around. So like, you better have your shit together if you come talk to me. For example, I had a meeting with Ryan Serhant earlier today. Can you believe that? Yes, I met with Ryan Serhant. Yes, everybody, I did that. In that meeting, I had an email and I had every single point I wanted to talk to him about, like 15 points. Boom, 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 boom. You know why? Because I'm not trying to waste my team lead in this situation. Who's Ryan, who owns the brokerage, and I have my own team underneath him. I'm not trying to waste his time. I'm not trying to say, oh, I can't think of it. Let me follow up with you later. It's like, no, point one, are we going to do this? No. Okay. What do you think about this? Deal? Okay, great. We're going to do that. I'm working on this. Is that no good? Or do you think I should do this? I should do this? Done. And that's how my conversations are. I'm not gossiping. I don't care what happened in the past. Totally irrelevant the last team you were on. Doesn't matter where you came from. Well, in Kansas City, they did great. If you want to go back to Kansas City, I'm sure they're going to open you with welcome arms. But this is New York City. This is the real estate capital of the world. I work at Serhant. My team is at Serhant. We are the best brokerage, the most futuristic real estate company in the world. Period. How do you get there? You got to know what you're talking about. You got to be ambitious. You got to fucking work your ass off. And once you're in a position like I am, then you got to find the right people, like P. Diddy's making the band, to put it all together, to make sure it's a good mold. This person who might be great might not be good for me today, but they might be great for me tomorrow or in 6 months or a year. And you keep those opportunities open and you have the vision and you're always having more and more conversations. You don't know how many conversations I have every week, not just about real estate deals, but people that want to join my team. And if you want to join my team, you could just make a comment in the comment section right below. And then after that, you can just hit the notification bell. Definitely subscribe to this podcast because I am the broker that never sleeps. And if you want to make it in the city that never sleeps or any other city in general, you should probably listen to this podcast. So I know I just threw a lot at you. I just want to close it right there and say thank you so much for listening because the team concept is something that's a little confusing. People don't understand it, especially the consumer. But why is that dynamic there? Well, the dynamic is there so that the team lead can be the one who's the rainmaker, bringing in new business. And then the people who work on his team support that business, but then also learn about the business and get better and face challenging situations and then overcome that and then come out on the other side much better and much more savvy. Remember, we're not trying to make people go fishing. I'm not going fishing and giving people fish. I'm at the thing and I'm saying, hey, this is how you throw the line. And when you see it and it's biting, that's when you got to go back. That's what I say when we're doing deals. It's like, okay, now's the time when you have to go for the jugular. And you're like, what do you mean? I go, you take your knife out. It's a metaphorical knife. And then you stick them right in and you just watch them bleed out. You got to have that. That's part of it, and I help develop that within people. And it's not something that's easy. I'm going to make you do things that are very, very hard. And I'm not for everybody, but that's okay. And I'm just telling you my story. So thank you so much. Once again, I really appreciate you. Please like, please subscribe. Please follow me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever, TikTok, you name it. I'm there at Nile Lundgren. Thank you so much and we'll talk soon. Much love. Take care, everybody.